This Sunday morning sun looks pretty cool right now, but not long ago it was hot stuff. Lee Cowan has a portrait of the artist.
Light and glass have had an almost spiritual connection for centuries, but rarely quite like this.
Glass I think of as smooth and pretty, and these have a rawness and a mass to them.
You don't like delicate little things. Seems like you want big, hefty things.
Yeah, I know. The smallest people have the biggest ideas.
At 5'3", she doesn't exactly cut a towering presence, but when an idea strikes her, Marlene Rose is on fire.
Yes. And then right in here, beautiful.
Her medium is 2,000-degree molten glass. Her fascination, its unpredictability. Her motto, no fear.
I didn't realize how much of an adrenaline junkie I am.
Is that what you get from it?
I really do, because
You get a buzz.
I get a buzz because, you could really hurt yourself.
But the danger, she says, is worth it.
The glass is so seductive and so beautiful and ethereal. It's such a beautifully spiritual material, but you have to get the shape right.
To get that shape, she uses an ancient but rare technique called sand casting, so named because of that sandy mold, which gives the liquid glass a brief but comfortable home.
So it has to be hard enough.
That it'll hold the shape that you're going to press into it.
She's one of only a handful of artists actually trying to do this. When she started, nearly every glass studio thought of her as the proverbial bull in the china shop she couldn't find anywhere that would let her work.
I want to come in and use equipment and pour molten glass, and I'm going to make a mess in your studio. Why don't you want me? It was hard having the door shut in your face and no, and maybe it's just too hard. Maybe it's just too hard.
But she never gave up trying. And finally, this studio near her home in Clearwater, Florida, relented. And so, for the last 20 years, she's been turning out her signature pieces. Buddha heads, for one. Butterflies, another. African pieces, too, are a favorite. She's in more than a dozen galleries. And her work was recently a featured exhibit at the Fort Wayne Museum of Art in Indiana, which all made the mold that she poured for us all the more special. Our Sunday morning sun. She first crafts it in styrofoam, gluing it together with the help of her 2 kids and her husband, Thomas. Once built, the piece is pressed face down into that wet sand. It's then pounded and packed, and when it's gently lifted back out, what's left in the sand is the memory of even the tiniest detail.
Came out pretty well.
Yeah.
The excess sand is then vacuumed away, and a golden layer of powdered glass, in this case, is sprinkled into that mold. What comes next starts the clock ticking on a process where there is no room for error.
I just love how it's this dance amongst all of us, and there's danger and it's excitement, and who knows how it's going to turn out. That to me is thrilling.
That dance starts as soon as the glass is at the right temperature to be poured. It starts cooling almost as soon as it hits the air, which is why, almost immediately, Marlene starts blasting it with a blowtorch, and it could all go south in a second.
And if it cools too fast, the whole thing cracks and you're done.
Whole thing cracks.
Bit by bit, the sand is carefully removed, readying it to be transferred to the cooling oven. But bringing down the temperature slowly is so critical. Marlene even lights Thomas's gloves on fire
To warm you up.
to make sure they're hot enough not to traumatize the glass.
How did you get roped into helping out?
I'm married.
The result is always a surprise. This one, for example, was supposed to be all red glass, and yet gold mysteriously bubbled to the surface as it cooled.
What'd you think when it came out?
I jumped up and down.
It's pretty good.
You just never know what you're going to get.
And when it came to our son, neither did we.
What do you want people to take away from your work? What do you want them to experience?
I want them to feel something. I want them to look at it and feel it. And if they feel something, then I've done my job.
And with the sun finally streaming through our own little earthly star, feel we did.